Hello, hello, it's Ray. Today we are starting two 25-ounce sublimatable duo skinny tumblers. They are sublimation tumblers, so they are white to start with. I did sand them really, really well. I exposed a little bit of the silver at the rim on both. Sanded it really well, so they will take the epoxy. These are from Hog. The duo means they have a regular slide lid plus the flip top like sport lid. So these are going to be Peekaboo Fire tumblers. These are for donation. They are not going to be available for sale. So I was asked if I could make a couple cups for Fire Prevention Week. So that is what I am doing. I'm trying to plug in my heat gun. I have a ton of red, orange, yellow inks pulled. I also have my Dijon pulled, which is kind of obviously a mustardy yellow green. I do have a black because they want some black in this, but I am not going to put the black directly on the cup. I'm going to put it in a separate cup and just drag a tiny bit in because black will take over the world. So I have quite a variety of inks, so I will link a bunch of inks below, and I'm just going to jump in because this is fast set epoxy, and yeah, it'll start doing its thing if I don't get moving. So I'm going to start with my yellows. And I am completely out of my two favorite yellows, so. Alright, so here's where we make the decision on the black. I'm thinking a tiny bit. It's TREX. This black is heavily pigmented. So I think I'm actually going to put a couple drops of alcohol in it and thin it back down a little bit. I think that might help. And yes, I mixed way too much of this. See, it's already spreading. Okay, I think that's all I'm going to give it for black because I really don't want to screw it up. So I am going to dip my finger in one of my cups where I had the resin, and I am just going to blot over any of the fish eyes I do see already opening up before I spread my inks. And they may continue to open up, especially after I put heat to it. But this will help me a little bit in the long run. Again, I don't particularly care what the bottoms are doing because the bottom is not going to be visible whatsoever. Alright, so it's going to get noisy. I'm going to mute this part, but I'm going to tilt them down, hit it with heat. I'm going to turn my heat gun on like the lower fan set, no, the higher fan setting, but like a lower heat. I'm going to tilt it down. Once I get moving, I'm going to set the turners down. I'm going to switch their direction so they're turning towards me, and then I'm going to tilt it up. Make sense? This turner with the block of wood under it and 2 cups is extremely heavy and awkward to hold like that. So I have my heat off. I'm just going to tilt it down for a minute. Alright, so I'm going to switch directions. There we go. And I may throw a little more yellow back in again. And possibly a touch more black. So now I'm going to tilt it up. I'm going to go back to my heat for a minute. And then I'm going to let them be. So that is it. I am going to let these dry thoroughly. They are going to need a top clear coat over this just because this is a fast set, and with a little bit of fish eyes and the amount of heat, it's going to have a couple ripples because it's already setting up. So it's going to get a clear coat to cover up any ripples and fish eyes, and then we will go to decal after that. So I will do that top coat off camera. Okay, so my cups are smooth and ready for their decals, and I'm going to carefully pick where my decals go on these because a lot of it's going to get covered back up. But I'm actually going to decal this off camera because this was extremely difficult to weed, this particular image that they wanted for these, and I'm nervous about getting them on neat enough to begin with, and with having not perfect access to where I need to be to do this, it's just not going to work for me. So I'm going to not do this part on camera. So I'm going to try and get them lined up the same as much as possible. They're probably not quite weeded exactly the same. There's a lot of small pieces to these. And we'll see how they go on. But then I do have just that to go on the back side and these guys to go on the back side. So, but they can't go on until after the main decal's on. But this is where they are at so far. So I'm going to get them decaled, and once I get the decals on, I'll pop in and let you see. Okay, so I have one last decal to put down on the last cup. Thankfully, I am only doing 2 of these. I did use a piece of electrical tape for my marks, just so I got everything slightly better lined up. And then I kind of like, for these back guys, I was like, okay, his ear on the corner of the 2. Just so they're somewhat in the same place. So, tape can come back off. They're both ready. So these are the backs. They got the 2 extra guys and the department letters and year, and then there's my fronts. They actually went on a little bit better than I expected, and then I could reverse weed a little bit of the stuff I was missing at the bottom. So I'm pretty okay with them at the moment. I'm gonna get them out. Oh, and I don't think I mentioned, but this is Orcal 631 removable vinyl that I'm using on these. So next step is I take them out, I spray paint over the decals. Okay, so these were spray painted white. This one I already did the smoke effect on and peeled all the vinyl. I do have a little bit of adhesive to clean up before I epoxy it. But this one is essentially ready to go. So here's this one painted. Now, when you get it heated from doing this, it kind of makes the vinyl cling even more, making it insanely difficult to get off. So, I'm using the tinfoil method of doing these. So I just have a little candle lit and hold your foil over it, and it creates smoke if you get it right. And then you just capture that on your cup. Okay, so I think that is smoked enough. And next you go back in with your weeding tool, and this is going to be the tedious part because it's going to want to all fall apart on you and rip into pieces. But you're going to sit here and painstakingly weed carefully every little bit of that vinyl back off. So, and this is going to take me quite a while. You can pretty easily tell what is vinyl and what's not. It did get a little bit difficult doing parts of the firefighter. If he was getting geared up for a test, he'd have failed and been booted from the department because you can't don and doff that slowly. So I'm going to keep working on this one until it looks like this one. Okay, so it is time to get the epoxy on these. I've already done this one. I had to hold off on doing this second one because I realized there was a little piece I'd not gotten weeded back off. So, but I did take these outside and give them a clear coat to make sure the smoky part stayed in place. And then obviously got a coat on this one. So I'd forgotten a piece here. So I finished the epoxy on a different tumbler and am now mixing a new batch. Okay. So there we go. I'm going to torch this, let them dry, and if I need another coat, I'll get another coat on, and then we will have a look at them. Okay, so these are both done and ready for delivery. And this is how they look. Bottom. This one has the screw-in regular top on it, and this one has the screw-on water bottle style flip top on it. But yeah, that is it for these two. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one.